Are we live? Ready? Yes, we are. I'd like to call to order the Town of Fraser's regular meeting for April 6th, 2020 at 6:04. Can I please have a roll call?
Katie Fisher.
Andy Miller.
Eileen Waldo.
Brian Cirkvenick.
Katie Souls.
Philip Vanderneel. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
So move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes the minutes from March 16th, the Regional Housing Authority workshop minutes from March 14th, Resolution 2022-0401, the Kona Ice Facility usage permit, and the Middle Park Health letter of support.
I would move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great. We are now at, I'd like to welcome Rob Clemens, who is our new finance director for the town of Fraser, replacing Beth. We hate to see Beth go, but we're excited to have Rob on board with the town of Fraser. So if you want to take 5 or 10 minutes and a little brief background about yourself,
Sure.
step up to the.
Or less.
You can be as short as 30 seconds. I'm perfect.
Hi, I'm Rob Clemens. I've been to all 50 states, a few continents, a few oceans, and excited to actually be residing in Fraser with my family. And was in the Front Range for about 13 years. And visited up here for about 10 and been here for about the last 2. And I've worked with schools, nonprofits, a few startup organizations and higher ed. So that's where I kind of got my background in governmental finance. And I've really been focused on drinking from the fire hose for the last couple of days and absorbing as much as possible. So thank you for having me.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for-
Yay.
Can I
He's
have
welcome.
Just want to point out that we started this search after Beth Williams, the former finance manager, turned in her notice to resign. So in January, we actually started a nationwide search. And we had 12 semifinalists. We narrowed that down, and lo and behold, the person we chose actually lives here in Fraser. Rob's got some great credentials behind him. That was one of the reasons why he became the finalist. But during the interview, it really came clear that here's someone that's very strategic in thought, someone that has a lot of background, a lot of experience. And quite frankly, I expect he will do wonders in our department. So I'm happy to have him on board. And yes, this is his 3rd day and he's been drinking from a fire hose so far, but glad to have him on board.
Great. Welcome
Yeah.
aboard, Rob.
Yeah, absolutely.
Public hearing and possible action is the Waldron minor subdivision and conditional use permit, which was continued from February 16th. And it's my understanding that the applicant has withdrawn this application.
That's right.
And I'm not, what is the
Just-
process of, should we,
Just-
do we need to open and then,
We need to, it was a continued hearing until
So
tonight,
open.
so we need to open the public hearing and
and
then
then close it?
announce that the applicant has withdrawn the
Okay.
application, please.
So can I have a motion to open the public hearing?
I move to open the public hearing for Waldron Minor Subdivision and conditional use permit.
I would second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And then just as stated, the applicant has withdrawn their application. And I guess I theoretically, I have to allow public comment, or do I not? Is there any public comment? Raise your hand. Is there anybody online? There's not there. Okay, so can I have a motion to close that?
I would move to close the public hearing.
I'd second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Perfect. Next is discussion and possible action, and we have Grand County Library District 2021 year end presentation by colleague Gallagher. welcome.
for having me. I come bearing gifts. If you're interested, I have COVID tests. We're a distribution site, so
Oh, nice.
if anybody's interested, I have.
Nice. You just right arrow and left arrow, like.
Perfect. Thanks so much. Thank you so much for having me tonight. Each year we come in and do a touch base with each of the towns, and it's so exciting because we're actually part of National Library Week this week, a celebration of libraries across the country. So perfect timing. And our theme for National Library Week is Connect with Your Library. And it's focused on how we, as the library, connect with our community and how we encourage connection within the community. I'd like to introduce Darcy Schlichting. She is one of our trustees, lives over in the Winter Park area, and has been on the board for a few years. It's thanks to the work that Darcy does through our strategic plan committee that you'll take a look and you can see what sort of things Greene County Library District is doing. So I'll go ahead and get started. And feel free if you have any questions as I go, happy to answer. So if we take a look at tradition, we know that libraries are places for information, and when most people think library, they definitely think books, right? And while that's certainly true, these days books take different shapes: ebooks, audiobooks, tablets. You can imagine that during the pandemic, the number of ebooks people have checked out as opposed to physical books has gone up. For Greene County Library, nearly 500% increased usage in our online resources. And I have to say, for the first year in our reports, we have more digital books in our collection than physical books.
Wow.
Big day, right?
Wow.
Now, Greene County Library District does continue to have our emphasis on literature with a variety of book clubs. Digital access has been something we've maintained throughout the pandemic and expanded for our community. We've been able to offer a lot of opportunities for exploration. We continue to host a program through the Greene County Blues Society with instruments available for checkout and even classes. We had some great ukulele classes the other day. We like to promote people's interests. We have gallery space in 3 of our libraries and run quite a few of opportunities for people to connect with different classes and just really looking at our mission of boundless opportunities. And yes, we still love books. What you're looking at here are courier bins that came into the Fraser Valley Library in one day. And in each of those courier bins is anywhere from 20 to 40 books. So Fraser Valley definitely loves their books and is checking out their books. Something to consider though is libraries are no longer focused on what we have, but it's more about what we do. After nearly 14 months of being either completely closed or closed to the public or with limited services, our libraries fully opened their doors in May of 2021. And we welcomed the public back into our facilities for full services, including browsing, enjoying the facilities as a quiet place to read, meet with others, and in-person programming. As the year progressed, we've actually expanded our hours in Hot Sulphur, Juniper, and Granby. We met our community where they were, providing story time. We're actually going out into the local preschools to provide story time, offering craft projects at local events. You might have seen us at High Note, was it Tuesdays, Thursdays over in Winter Park, and integrating our services into other human services organizations. We actually received from the Colorado Association of Libraries, I received the Library of Distinction Award, which is fantastic. And in 2021, we're continuing to hear recognition from our peers in the library world, as well as cheers from the state. Our focus as we move forward, we're working on a 5-year plan. We're about 2 years in. Diverse collection and services is one of our key items. We really want to curate valuable resources and services for every user in the library to foster a lifelong connection. And so we really look at us as a shared economy, place to build connection, and somewhere for innovation. And so here's some of the things that we're doing. As children were vaccinated and coming back more and more into the library, we have been able to return our maker spaces and get those synapses going. This has been a great project. We started it in 2019. We don't have the 3D printer and the huge spaces available in our branches. So we have kits that rotate around monthly to the different libraries, focused on different math and fractals, studies, different science concepts, lots of engineering. Kids come in, they build robots, they build automatons, or all sorts of things. As we consider how we can foster connection to our library and our community's interest, we've expanded our library things for checkout. I admit the plunger is not available for checkout, but we do have some tools available. We have all sorts of knitting needles and craft kits, all sorts of different things that a lot of people, when they come in, they're like, huh, didn't expect you to have a karaoke machine. We do.
Oh.
Not everyone can get down to the Front Range for some cultural experiences. And so we provide that space. We've been able to host the Colorado Ballet live stream performances at each of our libraries. In fact, the last one at Fraser Valley Library, I think they had 26 kids attend to see The Wizard of Oz. It was great.
And you can do that virtually?
We do it
You don't
virtually.
your homes and watch log in?
Unfortunately, you have to come into the library for it.
Okay.
We only get one stream.
Okay, cool.
And this is one of my favorite programs. We've talked about this. I think we've got some good use here. The revitalization of Access Grand, which has expanded with more Grand County resources, including Headwaters River Journey, pass for 2 adults, kids get them free. Winter Park Resort actually gave us 105 ski passes that were checked out through the library. We've got yoga, and of course the rec center and various other fitness centers around the county are participating in this program. So these are all available. You can do it online. I have it on my phone, so I just press the button if I'm in Denver and want to go to the Museum of Nature and Science or the Botanic Gardens, or when I have family that come and visit, we'll often get a pass for the Y and go skiing. It's great. We've expanded also and have really done a lot of work with school readiness and training. And we're really looking at the importance of games in connection to school readiness. In addition to supporting our youngest community members prepare for school through story time, we offer 1,000 books. You might recognize this one. 1,000 books
yeah.
before kindergarten. Take and make kits. And we've had our outdoor story strolls to help engage caregivers with tips and activities. All library staff have been through school readiness trainings to build our knowledge base so we can better serve our community. We've actually started a program on Saturdays in Kremling, and we're just starting it in Granby, piloted in Kremling. And it's a school readiness program for 3 to 5-year-olds using science and math and the outdoors to connect with reading. It's been great fun. We love playing in mud, which is good. There's a lot of mud. We've driven community conversation with displays that stimulate thought and civil discourse. Banned books, definitely a hot topic of the hour. And now we're working on building our access. A lot of it is awareness. People don't know that we have more than books, right? And so working on that awareness, using user-centered approach, and really revamping our digital connection to the library, as this is a significant use area. These are a couple wonderful teen volunteers at our Fraser Valley Library. We've expanded our teen volunteer pool, providing not only support in the branches, but also activities. This was an area that on our community needs assessment, households with teens gave us a full, it was a score of 1 to 5, a full point lower score across the board, households with teens. So we're really working to engage and connect these families. And I'm so proud. We have a teen advisory group that put together their first teen event. I was thinking maybe 10, hopefully 15. We had 55 teenagers at the Granby Library after hours. Laser tag, because we have laser tag for checkout, cornhole, because we have cornhole for checkout, as well as other just dance and craft areas. I also love the fact we're thinking outdoors. So this was one of our summer reading prizes, was an inflatable kayak. And we have story times now down on the beach in Grand Lake. And we've started a hiking book club. Their first meet is in May, going around through different trails in Grand County. And the book focuses are on environmental issues. We had a really vibrant summer reading program funded through our Friends of Greene County Libraries, keeps children learning outside of school. And we considered our offerings and times and expanded those not just to branch hours, but alternative times for programming with the intent of capturing new patrons. And I love this one. This is our Fraser Valley Children's section. We received a grant through the Grand Foundation to redo our furniture. Our furniture wasn't easily sanitized, COVID, all of that. So we've got all new furniture in there, including these great interactive walls. A lot of this space is focused on 0 to 3-year-olds, which was an area we were missing. We've been sharing our expertise. We have a lot of homeschool students in Greene County. And with that, as they don't have a school librarian teaching information literacy, we've taken that role on. And actually, Shelley Mathis, who developed this program, has now expanded it for librarians, because there's a lot of librarians in the state who came out of more of a customer service than library background. And she's been asked to present several times throughout the state. It's exciting work. We're working on unifying our marketing and events throughout the district. So our scary story competition had lots of great participation from this end of the county. And we've been building our partner networks, fire companies, circus, dentists, Grand Beginnings, Rural Health, Mountain Families, Department of Health and Human Services. They're all groups that we work with. Having that 24 access 7 days a week to online resources has been huge. I mentioned that significant growth that we've seen, and it's amazing. Every day, at least 350 patrons of Greene County Library District access the Denver Post through our website. We're working to try and meet people where they are. We have iPads that you can use in the library, but it just gives you that flexibility as to where you go. We have a lot of patrons that use it for telehealth meetings. And our last focus area is community resource and looking at our space and what we have and continuous improvement. It's not our intent ever to compete with local businesses, but a lot of local businesses at the moment are struggling with staff and can't support having Rotary Club meetings or PEO or other entities like that. So we've become a site in our meeting rooms that have been used. And this new baby in the Fraser Valley. And with this little Nora, she attended the community baby shower that we do with Grand Beginnings. We've done a lot of work in outdoor fairs. The upcoming children's fair will be part of. We've been working with the Office of Emergency Management, distributing NOAA radios. If you don't have one yet, Fraser Valley has 5 left. And with Rural Health and the Gratitude for Grand program. It's been great. We always joke about this. Like, how do we tell if we're winning? You know, as a government entity, as we do our community needs assessment every 5 years kind of thing, but what's happening? But we've seen over the course of the last year, and we're talking pandemic last year when people didn't want to be out and about with other people, but we had 128% an increase to 120% of our pre-pandemic levels. And we were doing pretty good before. Our online resources, as I mentioned, 582% up. And Overdrive is the books, ebooks and audiobooks. We've now added a new one, Hoopla, which I strongly recommend, especially if you're in book clubs, because you can do simultaneous downloads of books. But we're up over 137%. We're still working to bring people back into the library, but we're also meeting them where they are, out and about in the community. So, and our librarians are getting well used. So even though we're at 3/4 of people coming back in, we're almost at the same amount of reference questions that people had prior to the pandemic. And so that's Greene County Library District. Appreciate your time. And if you have any questions or anything I can do for you, please let me know.
Wow, thank you. Nice rock.
There's a lot going on.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
There's the stuff. And I'm leaving the
awesome.
tests here because I've got 900 of them and I'm not taking them back.
We're lucky to have you.
Yeah,
if anybody
yeah.
needs
Thank-
it,
Thanks,
let me know.
thanks to the library for all that you guys do. So thank you. Adam, resolution 2022-0402 sanitary sewer maintenance and repair.
Hello. Well, this issue tonight, it's really just an annual maintenance issue. We do this regularly. Basically, we're trying to hire a contractor to jet and video our sewers. We do this we do the entire town on a 3-year cycle, and this is based on our insurance company. That's their recommendation. So we try to comply. And what we found is it really does help the system function better, especially in the older parts of town where we have older materials and a little less slick, I guess. So there's about 30,000 linear feet of pipe in the Old Town area of Fraser, which is scheduled for this year. We also, we pencil in some point repairs and manhole sealings as well. Those are kind of on the spot activities when you find a hole punched or an offset in the sewer lines. We can use these liners to fix it without excavation. So we always try to put a few of those in. The number of those is actually declining. When we first started this program, we were doing 10 a year, and now I'm just scheduling for 5. I don't anticipate using all of them because generally defects don't happen over time. You know, they're either there from the beginning or not. And we suspect we found most of them at this point in time, but just in case, we always budget a few. Then there's, we've budgeted for 10 manholes to be sealed, and that's just kind of standard practice too. As you come across them, some of them are leaking, and we take care of it on the spot. So those dollars are actually malleable. If we come across more manholes, we can take some of those the Band-Aid point repairs and move it over and seal some extra manholes.
I'm
Yes.
curious on that. So is it, you've got the cover in the middle of the street, is the top of that leaks, or is it supposed to let water through the top, or?
Good question. It is not supposed to leak. And infiltration happens throughout the manhole. So you have a base, and then you have a seam and barrel sections going up, and then a cone section, and usually rings above that. Every one of those seams eventually becomes suspect or vulnerable to infiltration. You also have it coming through the manhole lids, especially this time of year when you have a lot of surface melt and surface flow. Yeah, it finds the low spots or holes and even the hole in the manhole itself. One of our codes actually is sealed manhole lids within the 100-year floodplain to avoid those kind of situations, but that's not across the board. So infiltration occurs, yeah, from the top of the manhole to the bottom. It occurs at the pipe penetrations as well. And you know, so as they're inspecting them, as they're entering them to do the sewers between, we evaluate those as well. And if it's needed, then we can proceed on repairing.
Thank you.
Come on, Andy. So the budget for the project is 86,440. We do put a contingency on there. This is a pretty scheduled thing, so I do not anticipate using the contingency, but that's a safety measure that you do on these things.
Thanks, Adam. Any other questions? Motion?
I move to approve resolution 2022-0402 sanitary sewer maintenance and repair.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And 2022-0403 Fraser well cleaning and maintenance, which is Adam again.
So this will probably sound like a repeat of the last. This is an annual maintenance program. We started this 2 years, or actually this will be the 3rd year. This will complete all of the wells within the Fraser well field. Basically, we're trying to just do a couple a year and start like a 5-year cycle. After that 5 years, we'll reevaluate and see, you know, if we can stretch that out a little further or not, or if we should maintain that. This first cycle through the wells, there is a little added expense because we are re-outfitting with new pumps and transducers when needed. I wouldn't expect that 5 years from now as well. As I said, this would complete the Fraser well field. Basically what they're doing is they're cleaning the screens and flushing them, and we're trying to optimize the performance of them. The next 2 years, we anticipate doing the Maryvale well field. We have 4 wells on the south system that supply Rendezvous and Grand Park, and they're newer, so we started on this end and kind of just trying to start a cycle where this becomes preventative rather than reactive.
It looked like from the list, Adam, there's some pump replacement here too.
Yeah, so basically when they do this cleaning, they pull the down pipe equipment. What we're finding on this end of town is the wells are old enough and where when they test the pumps, they're not landing in the optimal zone on the curves. And so we're replacing those. And part of that is just trying to optimize our well field and our production of what we have today. We're doing some well field studies to expand the well field and look at future water sources as well. But the first step is really making sure your wells today are optimized and running properly and producing what they can.
So the number of pumps to be replaced is kind of a best guess. Or...
It is it's a maximum of 4. There's 2 wells from last year that unfortunately the supply issues, we'd like to do this all in 1 year, but we're cleaning them 1 year and we're getting the pumps over the winter and outfitting them the next year. So actually 2 of these pumps you saw last year, and those dollars were not spent. Those wells were cleaned last year and we're going to re-outfit them. I believe the supply line's a little better, and the wells that we're doing this year, one of them is average age out there. The other one is one that we re-outfitted 3 years ago and got online. It had been offline for about 30 years, if you guys kind of recall that project. So again, I think the estimates are high. I don't believe that we'll be replacing that equipment on that specific well, but it's better to have it in here in case something's needed and not spend the dollars.
That's good.
Any other questions? Motions?
I move to approve resolution 2022-04-03 Fraser well cleaning and maintenance.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Great, thanks, Adam.
Okay,
Thank you.
Adam.
Have a great night.
Once
Yeah,
again.
And
Thank
Mr.
you.
Mayor, just one more side note. This is actually Adam's last meeting with the board.
Oh, man.
His last day with the town will be next Friday, the 15th. We're certainly going to miss Adam. He's been part of this community for a long time, former trustee, been on the staff. Appreciate his knowledge, appreciate his ability to manage this system as well as he has. So you'll be missed.
Yeah, thank you
Thanks,
for
Adam.
all of your really good, thorough work. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I did not know his end date, so. Open forum business not on the agenda, so this is when the public can address the board. If you'd like to do so, raise your hand, we'll get you up here. You will introduce yourself and let us know if you live in the town of Fraser or not. And I have 3 minutes to let us know what's going on. So go ahead.
Alrighty.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to my concerns. My name is Julie George. I live at 117 Byers Avenue. First, want to just kind of state the commitment statement on the town website in the water department section. Quote, to provide safe and reliable supply of quality drinking water at a reasonable cost to customers. I'm here to talk about the replacement of the outdated water lines in our town, specifically, of course, the line on Byers Avenue. For instance, our water line is 7 feet deep and it should be, to current standards, 9 feet deep. This is a major contributing factor to the service lines freezing in our area. I spoke to Adam. this morning became aware that the town did not receive any bids on the water and sanitation project that was sent out 2 weeks ago. This project included replacing the water main on Byers. This, of course, was very disappointing news, especially since I was told last spring that the bids went out and the work would be done this summer. I know various reasons why no one submitted a bid for this, but the replacement of these outdated lines needs to be a top priority for the town. It's well known that the town has several lines that freeze over the years, and this is not acceptable. On March 5th, our water supply line froze. We've been without water for over a month. Our line froze 2 days after the town scraped the roads, removing the added insulation in which the snow layer provided. Prior to our line freezing, we were doing preventative measures, such as running a bleeder line and wasting gallons of water a day. I know several people on our street that do such measures as well. Bleeder lines, heat tapes, covering snow over lines to make sure it's insulated. I've lived in Fraser and Winter Park off and on since the 1990s, and I have never once had to think about if my water line is going to freeze. We've tried all possible techniques, sort of digging our water service line up, but we cannot get it to thaw. Now we're living without water. This means hauling in 8 gallons of water a day, going elsewhere to do laundry, to cook, and showering at the rec center. In conclusion, I'm asking the town of Fraser to figure out how to get this water line on Byers replaced this summer. I do not want to go through this again. This needs to be a top priority to ensure that we, the residents of Byers Avenue, have a reliable supply of drinking water as stated in the town water commitment statement. I'd like to see this in further agendas or just direction on where I should go. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So it sounds like we need to have a future discussion if you could add that to our list. Please, thank you. Any other open forum? Anybody online? Is there anybody online? So anybody online, which looks like one person, if you want to address the board, you can digitally raise your hand and you'll have the same opportunity as everyone else, 3 minutes. Okay. No other open forum, so updates. Colorado Parks and Wildlife Grant updates, Catherine?
Yeah, you guys are all aware of this. I sent you this award letter, but a big shout out to Parks and Wildlife. We did receive $250,000 for their non-motorized trail program. And this has kind of been a priority in our Fraser River Corridor Master Plan that the town adopted back in 2018. So this is the Western Trail that was part of that plan, also known as Mary Ann's Trail. And thank you to Andy, Jeff Elliott, Jeremy and Serena from Parks and Wildlife, Skinny Traffic Trails. I mean, we've worked on this for probably close to a year on rerouting the alignment to stay out of wetlands and alleviate any mitigation to wildlife. And super excited to get the paperwork in May and move this project forward this summer.
Wonderful.
So thank you to all involved and your continuous support. And we did receive $15,000 from Rendezvous. So a big shout out to them for our matching partners.
Okay, thanks,
Wonderful.
Catherine.
Good work, Catherine.
And everybody, that was the transition for this trail down behind the, over by the liquor barn and from the pond number 1 there that goes down into the wetlands was built last fall and was really helpful this winter. It was a much easier way to ski and use the trail. We've been using this trail during the wintertime for years, but needed to make, this will make it year round. But anyway, that transition was a tremendous improvement and was really appreciated with all the hustle that took place last fall to get that in place before winter came. So, you know, this is going to be a really exciting
And thanks
addition to
HTA
in-town
too.
trails.
They were also involved in all these conversations. as
HTA,
well.
right,
So
yeah.
HTA is a huge.
Kind of our, part of our pledge with the transportation tax, and the 1 cent is to improve town trails, and this is one of them, so.
Thank you. Next is East Grand Fire Department 2021 year end update. If they're here, they are here.
Good evening. Excuse me. Good evening. Todd Holsworth, Chief, East Grand Fire. Also with me is Dennis Souls, Fire Marshal and Assistant Chief. Sent out, and I presume you guys all have copies. I do have some printed copies if anybody doesn't have one, and I'll leave these for however you wish to distribute them. So we've had a busy year last year, and we had a very busy day yesterday. I'm not sure what the heck all that was about. I think we started at 4:30 in the morning and stopped about 10 o'clock in the evening. So if you have any questions about the information, it's basically, it's all just made as easy and fun to read as we could. And, you know, anyway,
Right.
if you have a question for me or Dennis, we're here to answer.
So an update on the south station?
South Station, we're proceeding as rapidly as we can, which is a little tough these days. We've done the soil study for down there. We've got the paperwork with the town. We don't actually have the deed filed yet, but the warranty deed is in the works, and it's just a matter of getting the attorneys together to sign it. It's Town of Winter Park's all approved it. We're working on the plan is to get the utilities in, the deep utilities and the electric and gas conduits at least this year. Pretty sure we're not going to be able to get a contractor, much less anything else going until next spring, and hope to come out of the ground next spring. We've done the soil study, so the design is underway. We're working with Scott Munn, Munn Architects, to continue that process of getting it oriented. It's a difficult site because it's just the shape of it and the grades, but you know, it's what's there, and we'll make it work. Nash, you got anything?
Where's it located,
Yeah,
Tom?
what's
I'm
the
sorry.
exact-
Lone Tree. Lone Tree parking lot. So the
Okay.
outside of the curve on the Old Town Drive coming down from Lakota.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that tree is about gone. It's not much left. It's the traffic around it is thoroughly destroyed the roots and all that. So, and they're very decadent old spruce, I think is what they are. They're
They're tired.
the one's really tired, and the other one out there is not much better. So yeah, they're not looking too great
Right.
anyway. So we'll find some newer, smaller ones. Yeah. So
We appreciate all you guys do. So thank you.
well, like I said, yeah, and yeah, our gang. Well, I think we had 4 calls going simultaneously at one point yesterday, which is a little unusual. We usually don't have that, but
Is that
So-
mostly from the wind tree?
I think all of them, maybe one, maybe wasn't with the wind, but even that may have been with the wind. We had a smoke detector in a elevator shaft. May have been somehow the wind disturbed some dust or something. We're not sure on that one, but most of them were power lines or alarms or things like that. Yeah. So yeah, kept everybody hustling for a little bit. And of course, mountain parks, we were trying to help them as best we could. You know, at least babysitting a line till they could get there, or finding them in some cases, because they just weren't getting messages all the time. So
Thank you.
Chief,
bet.
I got a quick question.
Sure.
Received communication about some of the success stories of how the Marshall Fire was able to be fought as it spread so quickly, and there was some credit given toward interconnections between water systems and between communities and so forth like that. I know we've discussed that a couple of times there, but could you maybe elaborate on your thoughts on that and how it could help our town?
So I did provide at least a discussion letter, a letter saying, please do this, for what we call in the fire service is mutual aid, where we can help other departments out with people, equipment, services. And what we heard, and we haven't gotten all the after action reviews and all that have come from the Marshall Fire. Some of them are being hung up because of the investigation that's going on. But one of our former officers is the chief of the Louisville Fire Department. And somebody else, I think, went to work for Louisville that I heard that used to be here. Anyway, so what we heard from Chief Wilson of the Louisville Fire District was that one of the things that Louisville and Firestone, no, wait a minute. What was the neighboring one? I'm sorry. Yeah, I guess Superior. Thank you, Superior. We're able to trade water back and forth with each other, support each other with supplies. They were able to dump water in. They did have to go to boil orders because they simply couldn't treat it quickly enough. But at least they were able to provide a limited amount of water supplies for firefighting as best they could, even though each of them went offline at various times. And the only way they could do that was with interconnections that allowed the systems to support each other. Because apparently they are two, I don't know their systems by any stretch, but apparently they are independent systems, but there are interconnects that are established and have been there, and that's what they're able to use. And I just wish the three that could actually physically do that in this valley could actually make that happen. And, you know, it's not that the fire department couldn't have an engine pumping from one fire hydrant to the other, which could create an emergency interconnect. As I point out in that letter, there were no fire trucks available to do that over there in that fire situation. Every unit that was assigned was assigned. There was no spare trucks running around. So these connections were made because they were already in place. So, and you know, they lost generators, they lost pumps, they lost, you know, yeah, they had they had like the winds we had yesterday, except the 100-mile-an-hour winds were down right on the deck. It wasn't up on top of the mountain for them. So I would hope, I know there's been discussion, there's been designs, there's been efforts. I just would like to say I'd like to encourage that. And then as far as the other districts that cannot physically interconnect, we spent, almost 2 weeks, I think, hauling water between Grand County Water and Sand and the ski area when the ditches on Berthoud Pass blew out in, I don't know, 1995, maybe something like that. The ski area just couldn't make water for a while, or I'm sorry, Winter Park Water and Sand could not make water for a while because Fraser River was running yellows and reds and just everything you can imagine. So we were actually pumping water from Jim Creek for a number of days, and then we were hauling water. We did get the National Guard to help us as well. So, you know, things like that you guys can help out, and just, you know, maybe not just a handshake. Make sure those are formalized agreements. You know, with COVID coming in, and you could have a whole staff, if you only have 2 or 3 people on a water district, the whole staff could be out from illness. You know, as long as other districts can provide help, you can survive that. You know, licensed water treatment and facilities people. So that was our basic. Dennis and I cooked it up, talked about it, and because after we listened to what Chief Wilson was talking about, it's like, yeah.
I mean, we did this once with the Joint Facilities District. It's a little bit different case, but we did manage to put 3 different special districts onto a single plant.
Yep.
Thanks to Kirk Kleinke and all the people that put tremendous effort into that. And this doesn't need to be on that same model, but it just shows that we can put these special districts together and give them more resiliency through cooperation and through the infrastructure ties that we've talked about. So.
Yeah. You know, we put 3 fire departments together in the Fraser Valley, Tabernash, Fraser, and Hideaway Park, you know, in the late 60s. So, you know, we've done it too, you know, as far as being able to put things together and work together in that way. So I just hope you guys could work with the other districts and figure out a way to make it happen. That's all.
When I was running for Commissioner, Todd, my dad put together all these school districts, Tabernash.
Yeah, there was
Granby, Hot Sulphur,
there were a lot.
Fraser, this building here, into one district, and a guy actually came up to me and yelled at me about my father combining the school districts, and I said, buddy, that was 1948. You need to give that one a rest. So, but anyway, yeah, cooperation.
There was.
We need to do it. So
I'm trying to think. There's actually a map running around somewhere that has all the school districts or the school that were in the county.
Yeah.
And they were a lot of them. There was a bunch of one-room school
They
districts.
couldn't plow roads, yeah.
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 So,
Yeah, that's definitely been discussed in the past. So
okay.
thank you.
Time for action.
That's
Any
our,
other
that's our
questions?
request.
Any other questions? Great, thank you,
Thank
gentlemen.
Okay. Well, hopefully there's some fun things in there to read. And by the way, we are also a distribution point for these. We have 4 more cases. Those 2 each. So if Polly runs out, we got more.
Okay.
Perfect.
We got a lot.
Any other updates?
No, we got.
Any other updates
From the board, is that right?
from the board?
Just real quick, Brian's been doing a really good job on the Northwest Transportation District. We all know the pothole situation has just gotten completely out of control, and we're lucky we survived the maintenance season on Bertha Pass. What did we find, Katie? There was basically 1 plow operator up there for a good
Yeah.
part of the winter.
Yeah. Well, there was 2
Yeah.
for 24 hours.
Yeah, to cover the pass for 24 hours. And the emails that Brian got back from CDOT where they couldn't get anybody hired because of the hiring problems. Well, I'm real curious if we look at other districts. We asked CDOT to look at other districts. I mean, anybody that's made many trips over rabbit ears knows that that pavement up there is pretty dang nice. And that just happens to be the chairman of the Northwest DPR. And she's a great lady, but I'm just really glad we've got Brian on that committee and working hard on it. But I don't think many people realize that Berthoud is actually two maintenance districts. It's the east side is I-70 and the west side is out of Craig and Grand Junction. And I think we're at the periphery of the district, and this has always been an issue. I mean, years ago, I went down and rattled cages at CDOT back in the 70s when I worked for the Manifest, because we were down to 2 plow operators up there. Fernando Pacheco was doing hero's duty just trying to keep the pass open. And it happened again last winter. You know, it just seems like we haven't made any progress, and the road is just atrocious. So anyway, I'm glad Brian's working on that, but hopefully we can dig deeper. We've got Julie from Summit County now as our state representative, or fairly soon will be after redistricting. Hopefully a state senator that can be more active, but we've got to follow this along and see what we can do to improve our highway. So that's kind of what you found, wasn't it, Brian? I mean, it's really bad. Yeah.
I was actually just looking, because we asked about a full overlay and the last time that a full overlay occurred, and he said it's past due.
Yeah, well, they said it was 3 years ago and it failed prematurely, basically. Yeah, so yeah, but it's way past due. And they said that they're trying to put other people from other districts over here to fill potholes, but I certainly haven't seen anybody. And it's a bad
That's kind of a
situation.
little short stretches. Little short stretches of time.
That they've,
But like for a lot, and then a day, they,
What do you mean they
done,
repave short
you know, like
stretches?
50, 100, maybe 200 feet worth of potholes that are gone.
Yeah.
It's in the town of Winter Park.
Yeah,
No, we have to wait for the threat of snow,
It's
don't
like, really,
they?
officer, I'm just avoiding the potholes.
Yeah. Yeah, they're
Really,
bad.
it's pretty potholes.
yeah.
The plow guys do the repairs in the summer though. That's how it works, isn't it?
I don't think so.
Yeah, but we're due for an overlay is what it all comes down
Right,
to. So,
right.
Wait a minute. I think we could expect more getting fixed as soon as the threat of snow is gone. I'll be out there fixing them.
Right.
Lance and George, right? We do that.
I don't know if George is even working.
Yeah. They said to expect maintenance paving this summer, but not a full overlay.
Okay,
I'll
great,
keep working
great
on them.
job. Yeah.
All right.
But any other updates?
Well, and tonight is Andy Miller's last official board meeting. I mean, you could show up next time, but I don't think you're coming, right? Because we're just gonna
Well,
swear in our new member.
Antonetta's planning on him being here next time.
No,
What's that?
He said no.
well, if I get a dinner off, I'll show up to.
He might show up. But nonetheless, I just want to recognize Andy and the great work that he's done for the town of Fraser.
Yeah. And
You've
I
always
actually,
been-
you actually were taking, because I actually got Andy something.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a good
Candy,
segue.
candy.
Yeah, you know, I've always valued your insights and your knowledge. It's really been a huge asset to our board. A
Thanks,
huge
Katie.
asset to our board in the town, so. We'll miss having you here.
Right. So we had an election last night and Andy did run. And I was in an art gallery, local art gallery the other day and saw this and thought of Andy. I mean, it's water and open space and
Nice.
I just, it's a local artist, Rick Kohler.
Beautiful.
I just wanted to thank Andy for all of his years of service to the town. And he and I started out on not so great, but here I am, his unofficial last meeting. And, I would like to present this to him. So, and thank him. So,
Thanks.
and it's funny, they don't have thank you cards of Safeway, so you'll have to open that and
Thanks, you guys.
it's well done.
Happy birthday.
No, it's been a tremendous pleasure, that's for sure. So this is a great board, and I'm really happy that we've got a great board going forward to Katie and KT and Louis. Congratulations for taking my seat. It's warmed up for you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to add one name to that.
Well done, it says,
With the whale.
Well,
as in the great blue whale. So
oh.
nice. Thanks, Phil.
You're welcome.
Can I see the painting?
Sure.
Executive session.
Okay, I move to enter into an executive session for a conference with the town attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions under CRS section 24-6-4024B, and for the purpose of determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and or instructing negotiators under CRS section 24-6-4024E regarding doesn't say after regarding,
Litigation.
right, regarding litigation, including town attorney Kent Whitmer, town manager Ed Cannon, town planner Catherine Trotter, assistant town manager Michael Brack, attorney Andy Nathan.
Is there,
What's that?
is Andy here?
Andy's supposed to be zooming in. I saw I was texting him. That's probably him.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And then before we go off record, you want to do our
And tell the public,
Yeah.
we'll just adjourn and we'll get back.
Want to make the big bucks.
Right, so it's my opinion as town attorney that what will be discussed in this executive session does not need to be recorded and it's privileged.
And then just for the public, we will not be coming back on live because basically we'd be coming back and adjourning. So you have to stick around. Thank you.